Harvey, and you're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com.
Hi everyone, John Liebman here. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com. We're coming to you from the Kala U-Bass booth at the 2018 Summer NAMM Show, Nashville, Tennessee, with a very special interview today. This is Mandy Harvey, and you're going to hear Mandy speak in a minute. You may have seen her on America's Got Talent. Mandy plays the guitar, she studied piano, she sings. She is completely deaf, and you're not going to believe it when you hear her speak. I don't know if you can see a little bit of her mom's hands here, but she is signing. Hello, Mandy.
Hi, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm really excited to be here. I'm thrilled. You know, you're surrounded by music and instruments. It's a pretty good day.
Can you feel the vibrations?
You can feel the room. There's a lot of sound coming from different directions. It's almost like smacking you in the face.
In a good way.
Huh?
In a good way.
It's just sound. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I can feel sound all around. So it must be a very busy, loud room.
It is. It's not too bad right now. If you've ever been to the Winter NAMM Show, which is much bigger than this, it's quite a, I don't know what the sign is for cacophony, but that's the word I'm
Yeah.
I had the pleasure of meeting you and your mom and your dad just this morning, and it was a short conversation, but it was very engaging, and I've just been fascinated by your story. What is your story? Tell the people here what your story is.
Well, I grew up slightly hard of hearing, and for me, finding my way to music was my way to express myself. I was mostly a part of choir, and because, you know, all the words are in black and white right there in front of you, and so for me, it was my way to be a part of a team, but also to just find my voice. And as I got older, I wanted to become a music teacher. Started playing guitar with my dad. That was our way to communicate as well. And when I was going into college for vocal music education, I lost my hearing because I have a connective tissue disorder, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome type 3, and my nerves deteriorated. And
Say the name of the symptom again, just so I want everybody to hear it.
Ehlers-Danlos syndrome type 3, or EDS, okay. Go Zebras. And basically, over a 9-month period of time, my freshman year of college, I lost all of my residual hearing and kind of got lost in it. You know, I had told myself and convinced myself that the only way to love music and appreciate music was being able to hear it, and I have found over the last couple of years is that that's completely not true. You can appreciate music in so many different ways, and a lot of it starts with touch. I mean, if you think about it, your body is made up of water, you're 80% water, and when that sound hits your eardrums, that's what you're hearing. You're feeling the vibration first. And then your brain is telling you what that information is. And so I have trained myself to be able to pay attention more to vibrations and how music feels versus relying solely on my ears by using visual tuners to see what I'm singing and feeling what I'm singing. And then when I'm playing instruments, I pay more attention to how it feels, the touch of it, holding onto the instrument, feeling the vibration down your arm, through your fingertips. With the bass, it's especially amazing because it's such a resonant sound that you could feel it from your head to your toes. And so I always play, when I'm playing full concerts, I always have the bassist directly behind me so that I can feel him the best, so that I can keep in time with the rest of the musicians.
I don't want to have you recount what must have been an uncomfortable period, but did you know this was coming? You were born partially hard of hearing, and at the beginning of this 9-month period, what was that like for you? Was it panic? Was it, I mean, a lot of people would give up. What was going through your mind at the time?
Well, I mean, when it first started happening, I went kind of where you would think you would go, denial. I thought maybe I had an ear infection or I perforated my eardrum, but I wasn't really sure that it was going to be a progressive problem. And then when I had lost about 40 decibels of sound in 1 month, it became undeniable. And
Excuse me, was it the same in both ears? Or was it one and then the other, or did they happen together?
they both deteriorated at the same time, but not exactly the same. So one was like 40 decibels, the other was like 45, and then they just kind of, it was like they were in competition with themselves to see who could go out faster. But no, I got swallowed by it. My biggest mistake through that whole process is I had convinced myself that I was only capable of one dream the way that I thought it should go. And when that dream died, I felt as if I died with it. And there's a beautiful thing that happens when you fail that hard, is you have two choices. Your first choice is to give up. And every day is the same, again and again and again. You know what tomorrow will look like. Or you can make the difficult choice, and this one's the really exciting one, is that you can take that opportunity as a chance to grow, as a chance to change, a chance to understand yourself better. And I have to admit, I love people more than I ever have in my life. I appreciate music more than I ever have in my life, and I'm a better person now than I ever have been in my life. And finding the deaf community, finding ASL and a way to communicate, broke down that barrier I've always had, being hard of hearing, with misunderstanding the conversation.
I'm sorry, ASL? I don't know if everybody knows what that is.
American Sign Language. And so I had a voice, I had a way to communicate freely, and then finding singing without being able to hear myself, unbelievably freeing. I can't judge myself anymore. I can sing without nitpicking myself to death, saying that it's not good enough, that the pitch wasn't right, that that note could have been better. It's gone. So that voice in my head of criticism has been pushed aside, and now I can just sing.
Where did you find that strength to carry on? Obviously, you have a supportive family. Your mom is here, your dad is here, but you were 18 years old at the time. Where did you find that strength from within to do everything that led up to what you just said?
I didn't at first. I gave up. For a full year and a half, I didn't sing at all. I really did give up. And I was a miserable person. And, you know, you go outside and the sun hurts because it's too shiny and happy. I lived that world for a while, but I realized that's going to be my entire life if I don't make a decision to see it differently. And then getting involved with the deaf community, finding a new language, it encouraged me to start saying yes to things. And then my family and my support system encouraging me along the way. It's been a long process. It doesn't just happen overnight.
Let's talk a little bit more about you and your music. I mentioned we're here at the Kala booth. You play you play a ukulele, right?
Yeah, I play a ukulele now. I used to play guitar, but because of my hands, because of my EDS, I find it to be very difficult. And so I switched to playing the ukulele because it doesn't dislocate my fingers as bad. And I fell in love with it. So now I play a tenor or a super tenor ukulele because it's big and it resonates really well. I've been dabbling in learning other ones like the banjolele, and now I'm really interested in playing the U-bass because of the same reason, and you can feel it so powerful, and I'm excited to learn.
Tell me specifically about the Kala brand instruments, because they have come such a long way and they have become so popular among so many musicians across so many different styles and genres of music. What do you like specifically about the Kala ukulele and U-bass? And wasn't going to ask you about the banjolele, but I just want to say the word banjolele.
Sorry, say it again. Oh, what do you not like about Kala They put so much heart into what they do. And I've got to visit their facility where they actually create them by hand, the elites and everything like that, and they have so much nerdy love for their instruments. But I really appreciate and admire how much they give back. They donate so many instruments to the education system, hundreds of thousands of instruments that they get rid of just because they want to promote people to express themselves. They want people to learn how to play and to appreciate music. And music is one of the first programs that's cut in school system, and I really feel like that's a mistake. It encourages creative thinking, it encourages math, it encourages so many different avenues, and they have so much heart to give back. That's one of the big reasons why we've connected, is because we both want to be a part of change and want to be a part of giving back. And so my heart is to do what I can to encourage other people, and their heart is to do what they can to encourage other people as well.
What about the future? You've done a lot, and obviously you had a situation come out of nowhere that dramatically changed your life, but you've done so well with it, and now you seem to have a handle on it. What else would you like to do in the future? What else would you like to accomplish that you haven't done yet?
Oh, I'm scared to say that I have a handle on it, because I think the second you get comfortable, something's going to come out and knock the chair out from underneath me. So I'm ready for that chair to move. I'm excited. I'm working on my 4th album. I just helped Kala create a signature line, ukulele, and it's going to be a learn to play. So it'll have a DVD with it to help teach how to play the instrument and my songs as well. And touring. I'm touring a lot. I'm doing a lot of motivational speeches and workshops and working with children with and without disabilities. And I just got back from Nepal. That was crazy cool.
Did you climb Mount Everest while you were there? I mean, it's probably just right up the road from wherever you were.
No. Well, in Tampa, where I live, it's only like a small distance to Disney. And at Disney, at Animal Kingdom, they have an Everest ride. So, but I went with Eric.
Not the same thing.
I went with Eric Weinmeier. He's the first blind man to climb Mount Everest. And so I like to joke with him that I've also summited Everest.
There you go.
No, we took a group of 12 different disabled and differently abled students to Nepal to climb mountains together and to work as a team. You had deaf, blind, CP, Tourette's, traumatic brain injuries, all of these kids together, depression, anxiety, suicidal tendencies, and we worked as a team to encourage each other to grow. And at the same time, we visited schools. I donated some Kala ukuleles to different hostels and different and little tiny schools in the middle of nowhere in Nepal. And it was a beautiful experience in that culture. If you have a difference or a disability, it's because you're cursed. And so we got to help change the perspective for that community as well, to see these students do amazing things and hopefully encourage them to maybe look at people a little bit differently.
That is fascinating. That is beautiful. I have always had, I think you could call it a fascination with, music has been such a big part of my life, and I've always wanted to do something for deaf people. And you and I were talking a little earlier this morning, and I know there is a movement. There are a lot of people who are into that, which I'm happy to hear, so I don't have to start from scratch and reinventing the wheel. I'd like to get involved in that so people can appreciate music even if they can't hear it in the traditional sense. If there is one place where anybody can go if they want to help or support or get involved or be a part of what we're talking about here, is there a website or an organization or a foundation that you could cite?
Goodness, there's a lot. There's a lot of different organizations. There's the Hearing Loss Association of America. There's a musicians chapter for people who have lost their hearing who are still musicians. But I'm an ambassador for a nonprofit organization called No Barriers. So that would be nobarriersusa.org. And they help people with and without disabilities overcome their barriers, whatever that is. And there's a lot of people who go there who are deaf and hard of hearing. And I've had a lot of deaf people come and do workshops with me, and they're just connected to all these other different organizations that all come together. So I would say if you can't think of one, go to nobarriersusa.org and they'll be able to direct you to whatever specific you're looking for.
I'm glad I asked.
Well, good.
Did you ever find yourself reading up or trying to learn more about Beethoven?
About who?
Beethoven. Beethoven.
Oh, Beethoven. Yeah, he lost his hearing and was deaf around 40 years old, but he still hadn't written the Fifth Symphony. So I think it's just another, example of a person being who they are and not allowing their disability to define them. When I look at myself, I don't see myself as a deaf singer. I see myself as a singer. I'm a musician. I'm a musician first. I just happen to be deaf.
If you were not involved in music, I mean, you strike me as the type of person who would endeavor to do whatever she wanted to do. You're not going to let anything stop you or slow you down. What if you were not a musician? What would you be if you weren't a singer, a ukulele player, a bass player, a piano player? What would you do outside of music?
I have no idea. Music is so much a part of who I am. I think it would be fascinating to see myself differently. When I was a kid, my other dream when I was young was to be an astronaut.
When you were younger.
Huh?
More young. Younger, not young.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm talking about when I was like itty bitty, 5, 6, 7. I wanted to be an astronaut, so I wanted to go to the moon. So maybe some kind of engineering or something very logical, but I'm very thankful that's not part of my life, especially now that NASA's kind of stopped that program. I would have been screwed.
Well, you are very inspiring, and I was learning some sign from you and from your mother earlier. Inspired? What was it? Inspired.
Yeah.
Inspired.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And if anybody wants some information, No Barriers is the one, and the others that she mentioned, we'll have all those URLs up there on the video.
And you can always catch out what I'm doing at Kala Brand Music.
Absolutely. From the Kala Brand booth at the 2018 Summer NAMM Show, Nashville, Tennessee, with our very, very special guest, Mandy Harvey. I'm John Liebman. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com.
Bye.
Yes, I'm moving on.